Hello! Welcome to our podcast. I'm Jolene.
And I'm Dolly.
And we're here to weird you out.
With sex. Jolene, what content warnings are there for us today?
In this book, there's kidnapping, holding someone against their will, incest, attempted sexual assault, violence, and in general, you might appreciate a childhood movie a little bit less.
Listener discretion is advised. On with the show. Welcome to the Womanly Portal podcast.
On this podcast, we discuss explicit books in explicit detail.
And we say fuck a lot.
Listener discretion is advised.
This podcast is not for people under the age of 18.
On with the show.
Welcome back to another episode of Womanly Portal Podcast. I'm Dolly, one of your hosts, joined with...
Oh, me. I'm Jolene. Hi.
And today we have a guest host with us, Carlette. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'm Carlette. There's not much more to say.
That's it.
That's me.
This week, Carlette read the book, and she is going to tell us all about it. Carlette, what book are we talking about today?
We are talking about Get in My Swamp, an ogre love story.
It is exactly what it sounds like, everybody.
Exactly what it sounds like. It's essentially a Shrek fan fiction.
Not even essentially, just straight
It's
up.
a Shrek fan fiction. They just changed the names, like, not even that much. It's Beck and Leona.
It's the thinliest veiled fanfic of all time.
Like, the fact that they can even sell it in its current form is a little shocking.
I think the best part is that you have a physical copy.
I did. I literally bought it on Amazon.
It's not... well, and I wish they could see how many sticky notes are in that book
You
right
guys,
now.
The sticky notes, I literally put a sticky note every time I, like, physically out loud said, what the fuck? And I didn't even get all the way through it because I had to just stop putting sticky notes in it.
I've been there. Who's it by?
It is by GM Ferry, which is clearly a pen name.
No. No.
And I just
That
GM
sounds like
Ferry.
the gayest car ever, doesn't it?
Yes.
GM Ferry.
GM Ferry.
I drive a GM Ferry.
Yeah.
I drive a
GM Ferry wishes I drove them.
You know, it's a GM Ferry car with hot pink sparkles across the entire thing. That's gonna be my new car.
Perfect.
I did look at her, like, about the author page, and her profile picture is, like, her with a Photoshop pink background and big fairy wings.
Oh,
Oh.
cute.
Yeah,
Okay.
kind of like it's the human embodiment of that car.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
So, do you want to give us, like, a
Serendipitous.
summary of the story? Like, what is the plot line? Was there a plot line?
Square.
Very thin plotline. Essentially, Leona is engaged to Lawrence Farquaad.
Wait, is it really that obvious?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great. Awesome.
Who is the heir to the dual lock security home system fortune.
Wow.
And she's in a very unhappy engagement. And not because Lord Farquaad is an asshole, but because she doesn't love him. But she's marrying him for safety and security and money, essentially. And
She could just purchase the security system.
Yeah.
I don't get where she's coming from here.
She could just get one of the locks.
Is this like a modern set? Like, is
Yes.
it out of the
No,
fairy
it's-
realm?
Kind of.
Oh, cool.
Like it's soft fantasy?
No, she stumbles upon a fantasy, like, she stumbles upon a magical village.
Okay.
So it's, like,
Okay.
set in the real world.
Soft fantasy hard porn.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's all I've ever wanted.
Okay, so she stumbles into a fantasy village. Magical
More
village.
like she falls into a pit and hits her head and then
Wait.
wakes up in it.
Okay, step backwards.
Very Wizard of Oz.
Where is the pit?
It's in Florida.
Obviously. If it was gonna be anywhere, it would be Florida.
It's in Florida. So we open at her bachelorette party.
Okay.
Where she is there with her soon-to-be sister-in-law at a silent retreat in the middle of the Florida wilderness.
That sounds like the worst bachelorette
That
party
sounds
of
like
all
where you
time.
get murdered.
Yeah.
What the fuck? They're like,
she
no one
nearly
can
does.
hear your screams.
If
You are
my
not-
sister-in-law took me to a forest for a silent retreat for my bachelorette party, I think I'd murder her. Like, that's
fair.
the most boring
That's fair.
bachelorette party of all time.
That is fair. Well, she runs away from it, so we know she doesn't like it.
But quietly, right?
Quietly runs away from it. In the middle of the night, leaves a note that says, "Don't find me," and then falls.
Not suspicious at all.
You can look, but don't find me, okay?
And then falls into the ogre's pit, hits her head, goes unconscious, and then the ogre, Beck, finds her and takes her back to his swamp.
Right.
Yes. Okay, can we just start, though, with the content warning?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my god, please.
Because
I really want to know.
It was something. It was something. So the content warning essentially says, while fun, the story includes elements that might not be suitable for some readers. Abduction, consensual bondage, incest.
Incest.
We'll get to that.
Okay.
Mention description of past trauma, child abuse, neglect, suicide, cheating, and violence are present in the novel. I will say most of it is pretty mild. It's not that bad. We'll get to the incest part, though.
Oh, that's not mild.
What, is incest ever mild? Is it ever mildly incest?
There's like some mild incestuous things that happen. No, it's incest.
Not to invoke
It's not like-
TikTok.
There's your cousin, and then there's your first cousin.
No,
it's
well,
mild
like-
incest.
Not to invoke TikTok, but Oron High School Host Club, the anime, has mild incest in it. Where mostly they're just joking, but it is fan service, but they are twins.
Okay, but do they actually like...
No, they just fan service and make a bunch of other teens think that they are gonna.
Oh,
Mild
interesting.
incest.
Mild incest.
Not okay, okay? I just want to clarify. That was my first anime. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I don't want to talk about my fan art, but yeah, mild incest.
Perfect. Okay.
Great.
It
Now
exists.
that we have defined mild versus not mild,
You have your first cousin, and then you have your cousin.
first cousin, and then you have...
And your twin brother you just make other people jealous with.
Right. Yeah, naturally.
Naturally.
Yes. Anyways, essentially, she wakes up, there's a green ogre that is clearly falling in love with her, and she tries to break free, but ends up finding him very attractive and essentially masturbates to him for the first week she's there.
Solid, strong,
Okay.
strong. Okay.
Essentially, you keep saying. Essentially, she masturbates. For the
No,
first
okay, that's not essentially. She masturbates to him for like the first week that she's there.
Is he aware of it?
while he's
Yes.
not, while
Oh.
he's watching.
The first time she does it is my favorite, actually. It's hilarious because she's like, I need to get out of here. I'm gonna run away. And then she wakes up in the middle of the night and sees him and is like, well, I might as well get off before I leave. Like, and I'm like, that's like a direct quote.
Priorities.
Okay. So she
Huge
starts
priorities.
masturbating and like closes her eyes. That's very important. It specifically states that she closes her eyes, and when she opens her eyes again and is about to get off, she realizes he's awake, and he's like, "Can I help you?"
Ma'am, this is a Wendy's.
Like, can you imagine opening your eyes and there's just a man who's holding you captive, but just a man being like, and like that's all I can envision. It's like, I'll stop. No, I'm good.
Okay, but
like,
take that one step
ruin the
farther.
moment.
Imagine that man is Shrek.
It's Shrek.
But ripped Shrek. We
Ripped
didn't
Shrek.
even talk about
Very
that.
buff.
Is he described as super
He's
buff?
described as over 7 feet tall,
Okay.
incredibly ripped,
Got
with
it.
long flowing hair.
Oh, that's new.
Yeah, the
Aw.
hair is new.
What color is it?
Brown.
Hallelujah.
That sounds boring.
He also has fangs.
Oh. Why?
I don't know.
Does
Okay.
he have the weird ears, though?
I mean, he's got to, right?
Right, like he's
like
an
that's
ogre.
like a very ogre thing. Like the
Piccolo?
yeah.
Yeah, let me just, before we move on, let me explain the front of this book. So, there's like a bit of like a forest scene,
Just
right?
on the bottom.
On the bottom. But then there is a giant like overlay. Think of the 90s when they would like overlay pictures. So you had like, you know, the face looking down on the family, like that kind of thing. So it's overlay of like a man's torso and like starts to get fuzzy right around the V. And then
where he's clearly like
touching himself.
His whole wiener is in his
Which happens a lot
it might
in the
be
book.
here, but that other one is suspect. I don't know. He's feeling himself.
I just feel like clearly.
But he's green. He's ripped and he is so very green. What I'm curious about is, do you think that they painted him green before they took the photo, or do you think they just like edited?
I don't think GM Ferry has money to hire an actor or like a model who's willing to be painted green. I feel like that's a stock photo with Photoshop.
I bet you $50 I can find somebody who would be willing to be painted green and photoshopped and photographed for free. By the end of this week. I think I could do it by the end of today. I think I could just walk around my gym and be like, will you take a picture? But I need to
paint you green first.
The whole body green.
I need to like rub some green on you first. Yeah. No, I think they would do it for free.
I feel like that's a dangerous proposition for both of you.
Yes.
Okay, so she masturbates for a full week while he watches. Does he help?
He does help.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
great.
he asks if he could help, and she says yes. And apparently his fingers are bigger than her fiance's dick. Like, she makes that very clear.
Poor Lord Farquaad.
Well, he is over 7 feet tall.
He is over 7 feet tall.
Super important. Is Lord Farquaad in this book a short king like he is in the movie?
No. That's the part that really disappointed me, actually. He's tall. It does say he's tall, but apparently he has a very tiny penis. So
that's right.
Does he have a strong jawline
I
like
don't
he does
know.
in the movie?
It doesn't say.
Small penis, tall guy.
And I think one of my favorite, she talks about, I don't even know where it is. Y'all, there's too many sticky notes in here. But she talks about how, you know, she's very dick inclusive, that like it would be fine if he had a tiny penis if he was good with using it.
Oh.
So apparently he's also not good at using his tiny penis.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So she's constantly dick-shaming him, but she wants you to believe that she's nice about
dick
it.
inclusive.
There's so many
Me
parts
too.
of this book where they're like, I'm a good person, but I'm gonna be a dick right now.
So it's like the I'm not racist but of characters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am fine with tiny dicks, but this one in particular,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing against tiny dicks,
No.
but
I'm gonna make bumper stickers for our merch shop that doesn't exist that just says dick inclusive.
Dick inclusive.
I think we need that. Yeah, we have a ton of ideas that we have to go back through.
Oh
my.
I'd have a mug
Dick-
that says that.
Dick inclusive.
Well, except in reality, I'm fairly dick exclusive.
Dick
got one.
There is one.
There's just one.
And I married it. Like, that's it. I don't like the rest of them. They're weird.
Stay away from me.
I am dick exclusive. I am single dick exception. That's what I am.
Single dick
That,
exception.
that one penis is really lucky that you picked it over all the vaginas in the world.
That's very true.
Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
You had options.
I know. I had options. Okay.
All right, so
1 week of masturbating.
Yes, she also tries to, she calls it Operation Pussy Trap.
great.
And she, Dolly, your face.
Okay.
And Operation Pussy Trap, she essentially tries to use the fact that he finds her attractive to let her out.
Oh,
And so she
like,
just sits and masturbates in front of him.
hoping that one day
Hoping
he'll
that
Yeah,
he'll-
just release her.
Yes!
Yeah, he's like, this is better than cable. I'm never letting you go. And she's like, I'll keep doing it so you let me go.
like you stole me so that I could be your sex slave. So if I'm a good enough sex slave, will you let me go? That's the
Right!
plan.
Essentially, right?
Okay,
Like, that's her plan.
I don't really get the logic, but you know, you gotta work with what you got.
Yeah, yep, yeah. Well, and then, so as he's watching her masturbate in this cage, he also starts masturbating.
Okay.
So just
She's in a
masturbation.
cage?
She's in a cage.
Oh. He put her in a cage?
I'm just kind of imagining her tied up on the floor.
Yeah, I imagined her in his swamp house.
No, he put her in a cage.
Is the cage in the house?
It's in the house.
Why does he have a cage in the house?
He has a cage in the house because apparently he traps humans and eats them. But doesn't eat her.
Just
because
eats
he
her
wants
out.
to fuck her. Just eats her out
Yeah.
like, multiple times, yes.
Yeah, I figured. It was written by a woman, so. How big is his dick?
His dick, it doesn't give like an exact measurement.
What?
I know.
We got his dick measurement.
But
Well,
it does
it's dick
say that
inclusive.
it's
Oh, right.
dick inclusive.
Dick inclusive.
It does say that it's massive. Like the first time they actually have sex, like she's like, I don't know if it's gonna fit. And he says
The
something.
size of her
Famous
forearm.
line.
Yeah.
Famous line.
Famous
I
last
don't know if
words.
it's
Every romance book. You're too big, it won't fit.
Okay, so the
his
cage.
because he eats people.
He eats people, and so he puts them in his cage, right? Until he's ready to eat them, because fresh human meat is better than like not fresh human
Okay,
meat.
so maybe Pussy Trap Operation did work, just not the way she thinks it does.
I have commentary about that, and this is dumb commentary, but it was a really big deal in Shrek that he didn't eat people, and the people were just stereotyping him because he was an ogre.
Yeah.
I feel like GM Fairy is not a real fan. I'm calling her out.
Shots fired.
For fuck's sake. He's got hair.
You missed the entire point of that book.
I bet he doesn't even have a weird, bad Scottish accent.
Oh, I mean, he's from Florida, so
He's got a bad bro accent. Board shorts.
You know, right?
Wait,
Oh
does
my
it
God.
describe what he's wearing?
He wears burlap shorts.
Okay, yeah, that tracks.
Burlap?
Burlap,
That
like
sounds
like
itchy.
No, he's a cannibal.
he's not a cannibal because he's an ogre.
He's a
He
predator.
doesn't eat other ogres.
Yeah, he's just
Sure,
a
sure.
violent predator.
He's a people eater.
Yeah, and a pussy eater.
And a pussy eater.
Yeah.
His tongue is the size of her hand.
Gross.
In case anyone wants to know that.
I did.
It's a really big tongue.
I know.
Look at your hand.
I know.
Including the fingers.
I mean, like, even...
Including the fingers
all
or
she
just the
said,
hand?
all she said
Bigger than her
was
hand.
his tongue was as big as my hand. I will say, though, Beck is very much into pleasing Leona.
Oh.
He says he studied her when she was, masturbating.
Yes.
So that he knew exactly what she liked.
So he was very dexterous with his tongue that was the size of her hand.
How explicit are any of these scenes?
Some of it is kind of boring, I'm not gonna lie. There's some of it where, like the first time he has sex, like, of course they use, like, the flower blooming metaphor for her vagina.
No, I hate that.
And they never actually, like, call it her vagina. Like, it's always, like, her entrance.
Ew.
Or her core.
Ew.
Or, you know what I mean?
I like entrance. That one's
I don't
particularly
that
terrible.
One sounds like you're at the doctor's office.
Like, he always...
You're gonna feel my hand on your thigh? Now I'm going into your entrance?
You're gonna feel something cold.
You need a new doctor if they refer to your autonomy in entrances. I'm going in your front door entrance.
Your front door entrance.
But not your upstairs entrance.
Or your back door entrance.
Yes,
Oh,
that one
that's-
is always used, though.
Yeah.
Back door
Backdoor,
entrance or hole or whatever is
That
always
was one
used.
thing, though, because I kept being like, her entrance, and I was like, which one, though? Which
Yeah.
entrance? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, there's enough orifices that you've gotta, like, name them outright.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I honestly, you gotta just assume vagina because there would have been some sort of conversation more about his dick size and anal because
That's true.
that's a workout. Like, you gotta do all the prep.
Well,
if he's going in raw with
Yeah.
anal, like, that's cruel and unusual, and I don't think she would have enjoyed it. Knowing Leona personally.
We were at her silent retreat bachelorette party in Florida, so we would
right.
know.
We would know.
Yeah,
we
it's true.
absolutely, yeah.
She
we're
minds
very
how much
tight.
she likes lube
We're
when she
best
does
friends.
anal.
She's got the $40 bottle of Uber Lube, specifically.
She has to have, like, the Costco size, right? Like,
I mean,
Well,
with,
for a week
with the
straight,
swamp,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Got to.
I would hope so.
Yeah. Most of the sex in this is very cliched, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's
little
pretty cliche.
Disappointing.
It is.
Because
It's fanfic.
like, not to, like, put too fine a point on it, Carlette. But you are popping our cherry for monster fuckers with this one. This is our first monster fucker book, so I was kind of expecting a little bit wilder, but I do have, you know how people say that your hand is the size of your face, which is mostly just so they can punch you in the mouth?
Right, yes.
But, like, it almost is. And imagine a tongue that size on your face because you're, like, making out with him.
Yeah.
Does that fit in your mouth?
No, it can't.
Also, what size would that make his lips?
I mean,
Oh my
it's got to
God.
be huge.
Like
It's got to be huge, right?
Like, he's like, I'm trying so hard not to literally eat you right now.
imagine
because
the size of the hickey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and then,
It's your whole arm.
Just,
like, his dick has to
thrown
be
it.
her arm, right?
Right? I mean,
It has to be.
You're, like, okay, so I know that
Yeah.
she said that Lord Farquaad has a tiny wiener, but, like, if his fingers are bigger than even a tiny wiener, that's
big.
That's a
That's
big
huge.
finger.
or a really small wiener.
yeah.
Well, and then,
Yeah.
so then when it talks about them having sex, like, they're like, like, I think the line was something like, her vagina was, like, made for him, and of course they didn't call it her vagina, I think they called it her core.
Her lady
Her
flower.
core, it was like, his dick was, like, built
like,
from her core, because
I
she was
have the
made for him.
Biggest core.
She has
I have a giant gaping hole inside of me that can only be filled with giant ogre dick.
No, but, like, that's literally, like, multiple times in the book they talk about how, like, she was made for him and how his dick fits in her perfectly as if it was molded right from her vagina.
So maybe Lord Farquaad doesn't have a tiny penis. Maybe she has a giant vagina.
Maybe.
Like, always has to buy jumbo tampons.
Yeah, just 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, just really dilates when she's
Right.
turned on. What?
I mean, she could, like, hypothetically squeeze a baby out of that, so, like, I get it. Like,
yeah, but you gotta work and that ruins you.
Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah.
I'm
You
just
gotta
saying,
pee
like,
in a diaper for like 6 weeks afterwards.
just like, how big is a baby head? And then that's about as big around as I'm going to allow this ogre dick to be.
Yeah, that's... But can you imagine that going in
no!
But
no.
that has to hit your cervix.
you? Right? Like, I'm sorry.
That's so painful, too.
I can't.
No.
No.
How big is too big?
I'm gonna just say, probably too big, regardless of where we fall on this decision. If his tongue is the size of my head.
Yeah.
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 Like,
And I'm imagining that if she's all excited about the size of his fingers, that his fingers are the size of an average human wiener.
Right?
Which is, like, really big for fingers.
dick hands.
Just big wiggly fingers.
Yes.
Okay. Great. So after 1 week of masturbating, where does she
She
stand?
tries to run away.
Okay, once.
She tries to... One time.
Once.
She tries to run away. And he catches her in the woods, and that's, like, the first time they fuck.
Is in the woods.
Is in the woods.
Is it a
like
hate
he...
fuck?
Oh, the chase, like, gets him going?
Yes!
Oh,
okay.
Gets apparently both of them going. Because, like, as she's running through the woods, she's like, I hope he catches me. And I'm like, no.
What a weird thing to think in that moment.
Yeah.
Just weird.
Like, they didn't even build up to Stockholm Syndrome. Like, she just has it.
She just has it.
She's like, he's so
Predisposed.
hot that I don't even care.
Except I'm
Yes.
going to try to escape, but it's going to just be for attention?
Okay, so his diet, does he have to have humans?
No, he doesn't have to. He only eats humans if they fall into his trap, right? So
Right.
most of the time he's just eating, like, animals
He's
and
just
stuff.
a good guy. He only laid one trap for humans.
Right?
Just one.
Is that the trap she fell into?
That's the pet trap she
Yeah.
fell into, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And apparently he's a phenomenal cook. Like, he makes her French toast, and she talks about, like, how delicious the French toast is, and then he makes her, like, a big, like, chicken dinner.
Well, the chicken was actually human liver, so.
I gotta be honest, this is a lot for 200 pages.
There's There's a lot of detail in here.
Yeah, like it's just line of detail after line of detail, and you're not actually getting any sort of, like, growth or
No.
Like,
oh, no. No, there is no character development in this book.
She doesn't get any better with her Stockholm syndrome. It
just gets worse. It gets worse and worse. So she tries to run away.
They fuck in the woods.
Catches her. They fuck in the woods. And then there's, like, this moment, and it's so gross, but there's, like, this moment when they're done having sex that she's, like, so exhausted, and his dick was so good that she, like, passes out, right?
Oh.
And he's, like, going to, like, pick her up and carry her back to his swamp, and he, like, there's, like, this image of, he's, like, she's laying there with my seed pouring out of her.
Ew.
And I was like, that is so gross.
Oh, God. And this is an unnecessary detail, but I'm imagining it's green.
should we reach out to GM Fairy and ask?
Like Nickelodeon Gak.
The Nickelodeon slime.
Yes! Okay.
Oh,
That's so gross. It is just, like, not my thing. Like, anything related to seed is, like,
so gross.
It never...
He talks about it a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and it's, like, a weird... I mean, it's not weird. It's something that, like, a lot of people have, like, the breeder kink or whatever.
Right.
And so, like, that's what does it for them, is, like, filling them up or whatever the hell.
Right.
And so, like, that's the piece where I'm like,
No.
it's not for me. And I know it's for a lot of people, but it is not for me. Especially if it's green. Dear God.
To be fair, I made that up.
But, I mean, could you be wrong?
I
don't know.
I think if we asked, she would say, sure, yeah whatever.
Green, totally green.
It's definitely green.
Yes. So he takes her back to his swamp. I think he, like, cleans her up because she's, like, dirty, and he's like, I have to clean her.
Great.
And in the process of her running away and, like, running into the woods, like, all of her clothes are gone. They're, like, ripped to shreds, and he, like, he tears a lot of her clothes in this book, actually. Like, I'm kind of like,
Where is she getting more clothes?
The town. The magical little fairy town.
Oh, so he's like, hey,
like he's running errands.
I need another dress because I ripped the last one off her.
Yeah,
like,
essentially.
cool.
After this whole thing, like, that's when, like, Stockholm Syndrome, like, fully takes effect for her, and she, like, doesn't even want to leave after that, and she, like, tries to have sex with him in every minute of every day, and he takes her into the village while she's wearing literally a burlap sack.
Nice.
So that she can go buy new clothes.
Nice.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So, does Lord Farquaad come back?
Okay, let's get into this. Oh, God. Okay.
All right.
We're getting into the incest.
Hooray! I'm so glad.
So, Lawrence Farquaad does come back. So, at one point, Beck and Leona, I keep wanting to say Shrek and Fiona. Beck and Leona end up getting into an argument because Beck tells Leona that she can't leave because now she knows that there's this whole, like, magical fairy village in the middle of, like, the Florida swamp. And so she's not allowed to leave.
It's just the bath salts.
You're probably not wrong. So she's not allowed to leave because if she leaves, the town council will kill her because they can't let their secret be known to the outside world, right? And so he's like, I'm protecting you by keeping you here.
Oh, it was a good and important kidnapping that he committed.
Essentially.
Great. Awesome.
Kind of. He could have just, like, I don't know, put her in the middle of the woods while she was passed out instead of
set up a trap.
Right?
Perhaps?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. But yeah, so Beck is keeping her there for her safety.
Great.
So that she doesn't get murdered.
Okay.
But one of the wizards in town comes up with the potion that will erase her memory so that she never knew that she was in this, like, magical fairy town.
Oh, so she's gotten out.
Kind of.
If she
So
wants
the wizard tells Beck doesn't tell Leona.
Oh,
Right off the bat. But then he falls in love with her and he's like, I can't keep her here because it's not good because I love her, right?
Right.
And so he tells her about it, and of course they get pissed off and they fight, and she walks off into the woods, and enter Lawrence Farquaad. He finds her while she's in the woods and decides to go home with him.
Okay.
It's like a weird thing. Okay, it's fine.
Okay,
It's fine.
so Lord Farquaad
has apparently been looking for her.
right, and it wanders into the woods and is like, here
Here you are.
There you
There
are.
you are.
Oh, so,
Great.
oh, I'm lucky.
And she goes home with him.
And she goes home with him.
Okay.
And no one comes to murder her.
Great.
So, yes.
So there was no risk in the first place.
Apparently not.
Great.
So she goes home with Lord Farquaad, and they start planning their wedding still, and
Beautiful.
life starts returning to normal, whatever, and she decides to call up her sister-in-law one day, because she's like, well, I kind of just ran out on my bachelorette party, and I should probably call and apologize, right? So she picks up lunch for them, and decides to surprise her sister-in-law at her apartment.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes up to the apartment. Apparently, knocking is not a thing. Decides to just walk in with lunch.
Mm-hmm.
And her sister-in-law is in there and comes out in a robe and, like, a completely shocked look on her face and was like, oh my god, what are you doing here? Which, I mean, I would probably be like, what the fuck are you doing in my house? If someone just, like, knocks down my door.
no,
So
That
that's
would be
fair.
like an angry look on my face.
Right?
If I, like, walked.
Get out of my house.
Like, even if you brought me food, I'd probably be like, why are you here?
Yeah, like, try knocking.
Yes. So she walks in and is trying to be nice to her sister-in-law. Her sister-in-law looks startled, and then sees her fiancé's shoes in the entryway and is like, oh, is Lawrence here? Like, I thought he was at work. And the sister's face goes pale, and Leona goes into the bedroom and sees Lawrence half-dressed and realizes that he is fucking his sister.
That's hard gross.
That is...
I don't care what your kink is. That's gross. Like...
Oh, man, that is like... Wow. Sure is a twist.
Mm-hmm. Not the twist you're expecting, though, right?
I mean, I figured that the incest had to be coming from the bad guy half of things, but I'm really, really interested to see where the author takes that.
Not far. She doesn't take it
Okay.
far.
That's what they meant by mild.
Mild incest,
Yeah.
right? So
It's more
Leona,
like alluding to incest rather than...
Yes. So Leona freaks out because who wouldn't freak out?
Yeah, I freak out.
And Lawrence Farquaad tries to, like, calm her down. And this was my favorite. He goes, well, technically she's my half-sister.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Because that makes it better, apparently.
We only share half the same chromosomes.
Right. And then he said something like, it's not like I'm in love with her. Like, we just know each other's bodies really well. And I'm like, that's
You
also...
shouldn't!
That's not a good...
As somebody with half-siblings, this is particularly...
Yes. And then he says something along the lines of, like, I don't know why you're making such a big deal out of this.
Oh, I do.
I get it.
I know why.
She breaks off the engagement.
Yeah, would do.
Moves out of his high-rise apartment, gets her own little place, and masturbates every night to Beck.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's a good way to get over trauma.
Mm-hmm. And she wants to go back to his swamp, but she's like, I can't afford plane tickets to Florida. And I'm like, well, okay.
Where is she?
She is now in LA.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, they went pretty far for that silent retreat.
Yeah.
I don't believe any silent retreats exist in Florida. It's Florida. There's nothing silent about that place.
Yeah, there should be. There should be a lot of things silent about
there
Florida.
should be.
So she's now just, back home in LA masturbating to her ogre.
Maybe that's why the council never came to find her. They're like, what the fuck are airplanes? How'd you get that far?
They're looking for her in Florida.
Yeah, they're wandering the swamp.
Well, this is where it gets real good. Well, not really. But so then one night she's laying in her bed masturbating. She does a lot of that. And all of a sudden there's like banging on the door of her apartment. And she's panicking and she like pulls the covers up over her head because that's going to do anything. And asks, this is my favorite. She goes, who's there? And I'm like, why would you ask that?
Like, look out your peephole, girl.
She lives in LA. She should know better than this.
Yes.
I'm alone. Don't come in. I'm just a helpless little princess.
I'm trying to pretend no one's home.
So the door gets knocked off its hinges, and who walks in? But, Beck.
How the fuck did a giant green ogre get to LA and then wander the streets of LA? How do you find her? How did no one else notice and freak the fuck out?
Let me tell you how he found her. Because, of course... So he knocks the door down, comes in, and, I guess it says he was wearing a face mask, so he rips his face mask off, and he's wearing a hoodie, and, puts his hood down.
Because a hoodie and a face mask is going to hide the fact that he's over
giant,
7 feet tall, ginormous.
And green.
Yes.
Well, and if he's wearing a face mask and he's that tall, people would notice a fucking large man,
dressed like the Unabomber?
Yes! Yes!
Mm-hmm. Yes. Of course, the minute he's in her apartment, he's like, I have to have sex with you right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me just put the door back up so nobody walks in on us.
I think his words were I could smell your arousal from the hallway.
Oh my god.
So how'd he find her?
He tracked her scent.
From Florida.
From Florida.
So did she walk there? How do you track somebody's scent?
His scent reaches
7,000 miles.
Yeah. The tongue is the size of her hand. The nose.
The nostrils
are
are huge.
of her face.
Yeah. The nostrils are the size of a vagina.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
That tracks because
It does. Yeah. It does track.
He tracked her scent and
all the way
just
from Florida
All the way
to
from
LA.
Florida to LA.
How long has it been since she left?
It's been a month.
Oh, so the scent just lingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's been about a month.
She's got some serious pheromones.
Yeah.
They finally settled from 7,000 feet onto the
Right, there we
ground.
go. There we
Able
go.
to capture them. Jesus Christ.
Well, and then when she asks him, well, how did you get here? He took a plane.
With a
Oh,
ski
just
mask on?
fine. Yeah. So he does know what planes
This
are.
is what, pre-9/11?
He said that he just put on a face mask and got through the airport. No one asked very many questions. So I was like, so he has an ID?
Yeah, he's got...
They make you take your mask off walking through the line, if your nose is covered.
Yeah.
TSA does not have enough energy to ask that man why he is green.
Not in Florida.
No, not in
No,
Florida. No.
And really not in LAX, so...
Yeah. So then they get on another plane and she goes back to the swamp with him where they have all the sex in the world.
Cool.
Oh,
and
great.
Then,
And
yeah,
they
that's
live
only
happily
happily
ever
ever after.
Only missionary?
Only missionary.
Wow,
Really boring. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god.
I think the most exciting piece was one of the centaurs from the village. I mean, this isn't super exciting. Well,
You started with centaurs.
one of the centaurs in the village, his name's Donnie, he's an asshole, tries to force himself on Leona at one point.
He's the donkey.
Oh shit. He is
That's
the
the
donkey.
Eddie Murphy character.
Oh, that makes me sad
Oh,
because he tries to
no.
rape her.
Oh, God. Man.
Oh, they really did Donkey wrong.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just thought they left him out, but they made him a rape centaur.
Yes. Well, so Donnie tries to rape her, and of course, Beck hears a commotion and comes running and saves her and starts beating Donnie to an inch of his life.
Jesus.
And there's this moment where he's covered in blood, apparently.
Gross.
And she says that it turns her on, and
Gross.
so they have sex while Beck is covered in this centaur's blood. And she
rubs it on herself.
No.
too.
Still missionary, though.
Still missionary, though.
Missionary
but centaur blood.
play.
I mean...
What the fuck?
So
where's the consensual bondage?
Oh, there is a scene where he ties her to a bed with twine.
But
Twine?
it's still missionary.
But it's still missionary.
Oh.
There's more masturbation in this than anything else, I'm not gonna lie.
And honestly,
Yeah.
that's more imaginative than missionary is.
It really is. There's honestly not been a lot of masturbating in the books that
Dolly
and I have read.
That's true.
There will be one masturbation scene. It's usually a man masturbating, though, quietly to himself
In the shower, right?
Yeah, in the shower. Or,
Yeah.
if it's a historical romance, he'll be, in his study with the door locked.
Yeah.
And he'll be mad at himself afterwards.
Well, you did read Bridgerton, and that has a...
Oh, that
he
might be
teaches
straight
her
from
how
that
to-
book. Yeah, and I regret every second of reading Bridgerton. Thank you very much. That's a hot take.
On a scale of 1 to 5, what do you rate this book, and would you recommend others read it?
No.
A no out of 5.
No out of 5. Let's be real. There was no character development. The plot was garbage, and the sex wasn't even that steamy. So I'd rate it a 1, and I don't recommend anyone else read this unless you really are bored one day and you just want to laugh at something.
There you go.
It's kind of what I did, so.
Did you read it in one day?
I read it in one day.
Oh my god.
That's what I said. I was
Look at
like,
the font.
girl.
Look at this. It is double-spaced.
Oh.
14 font.
Like a college essay.
Yes.
How much did you pay for this book?
Like $10.
Jesus Christ.
That's like half a regular book.
You know what? Okay, here's the positive spin. Here's the silver lining. I am so excited for this author because if her deepest, darkest fantasy is somebody green fucking her missionary style, that can be arranged. Like, she can
That's true.
live out that fantasy as often as she wants.
Yes.
I think she should look for, like, just a little bit more. Because,
Yeah,
for,
like flip her over. Jesus
yeah, for
Christ.
$50 more, she could get so much more excitement.
I would like to see how she would handle, like, so he eats her out a lot with his fucking
There's a
horse
scene
tongue.
where she sucks his dick.
How?
I don't know. It's like at the very end, and
She just licks around it.
no, she fully like deep throats
Oh
it
my
apparently.
No! Okay, so
No.
he's got a pencil dick. Because there's no way
She said that she had
could
to,
be girthy.
and it's like the last chapter.
unhinge her jaw.
Probably. I mean, the last chapter is like 3 weeks in the future or something like that. Like it's like it like
That's a
skips
weird,
some
really
time.
short
need it.
time
They
skip.
really
Right.
need it.
Yeah.
And
2-month
so
anniversary.
she like talks about having to like practice like getting his penis into
With
her throat.
entire loaves of bread.
Probably. Yep. But no, yeah. Apparently, like she like deep throats his dick, and then he comes in her mouth, and she swallows it. Like
Swallows a gallon of
Nickelodeon slime. Yeah.
Gross. Oh my god. Oh god. Okay. Have you ever read anything that you would recommend as a replacement for this book?
For Shrek porn, absolutely not. There is one of a kind Shrek porn.
I beg to differ, Carlette, because I don't know if you noticed, but GM Fairy has published a sequel called Stay in My Swamp.
Oh, god damn it, now I have to buy that one too.
I'm curious why. Like, I feel like she really missed an opportunity because there's Get in My Swamp and then there's like Get Swamped.
It could have been
Swamped.
It could
Got
have
Swamp?
been.
Question mark? Like, there's so many good ones.
It could have been Come in My Swamp.
Yes.
Oh, it should have been Come in My Swamp.
I keep calling it that on accident.
It should have been, because, like, I think there's, like, multiple times in the book, there are multiple times in the book where he's like, my purpose is to make Leona come over and over and over again. Like, that is the purpose to my life now.
You think she has a Shrek baby?
She should have triplets. That's how the movie goes.
Maybe
But
stay
would
in
it
my
be like a
swamp.
mule where it's like, because that's two different species, or he's a
Oh.
cannibal?
That's right, because in the original,
She
was
becomes
an
a-
ogre.
yeah.
She becomes an ogre, yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, little mule ogre babies. They're just green but regular height.
Yeah.
Yeah. Monster dicks.
Monster dicks. It's a requirement. They must have big
I
penises.
hope she has girls. Oh my god!
Monster vaginas.
From their mom's side.
I don't want to teach a monster dick how to use use the toilet.
Jaws.
Right.
Double jointed jaws. Huge vaginas.
Right, though.
But they
Oh my
can't
God.
have kids because that's how mules work.
Yeah, that's
Thank
what I'm
God.
saying. Is like,
Yeah.
I don't think they can have kids.
This is a one and done generational thing, which,
Yeah.
thank goodness.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So,
We usually do a couple of readings. So, are there any sections that you want to
God.
read that are your favorite?
Okay. It's like 2 pages, but it's fine. Because
It's cool.
It's
Go for
14
it.
font double spaced, so it's
Yeah,
really
so
one
it's
page.
really like half a page.
Okay, so it's dark when my eyes shoot open. I don't know what could have woken me. All I hear is the buzz of frogs, which, do frogs buzz?
What?
Maybe in Florida.
Maybe they're magic frogs.
Maybe they're magic frogs. Okay.
It's the bath salt.
All I hear is the buzz of frogs in the swamp and soft breathing. My eyes adjust to the darkness and focus on the figure beside me. It's Beck, laying on his side, facing me. I've never been this close to him, and although the only light I have is the moon shining through the window behind him, I finally get to make out more of his features. I've known he's entirely muscle, but now I can see just how much of him there is. His head barely touches the pillow since his giant arm he's resting on lifts him so high off the bed. It doesn't look comfortable having to move around with so much mass, although personally I'd love to see just what his body could do to me. He could break my neck without even exerting much energy, and for some odd reason that turns me on.
What?
And then she says, God, do I need a therapist?
Yeah!
At least she's self-aware, you guys.
Yeah.
Is she?
She needs a therapist for a few reasons.
Okay, so he's still threatening in his sleep, his fangs touching his cheek, his jawline so sharp they could cut a diamond. But he's
the fangs.
I did too.
But he's still objectively handsome.
Oh, good.
I never imagined ogres could be good-looking. They're supposed to be horribly ugly, but I don't even think it's my apparent Stockholm Syndrome speaking when I say how hot he is.
Oh, she is self-aware.
He could definitely be on the cover of GQ magazine. It would be a strange addition, but it would sell millions. My eyes travel down his chiseled body. He doesn't have any covers over him, which makes it easy for me to take in every part of him. I'm not sure if I'm relieved or disappointed to discover he's wearing pants. But not just any pants. No, gray sweatpants. Are you shitting me? They have gray sweatpants in a secluded wilderness village. My bafflement is almost immediately covered by gratitude, immediately covered by gratitude because the gray sweatpants do the job all right, revealing the outline of his glorious cock. I'm delighted to find that he's hard. I wonder what he's dreaming of. I can't help but hope he's thinking of me touching myself in his cage. Or maybe of him ramming his massive dick inside of me. I'm not sure I'd be able to take it. It looks too big for any human. But I can't say that the thought of trying to fit it in me doesn't thrill me. Dolly. Your face!
You look like you're...
What? Okay.
You look like you're doing math.
We haven't even gotten to the masturbation yet.
I feel like I'm doing math. Like, guys just get hard without having wet dreams. Like,
yeah,
they just
true.
often are wet in their sleep. They're often hard in their sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, weird. 1, 2, what the fuck?
It gets worse. Hang on.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
Great.
Okay, before I even know what I'm doing, my hands are down my pants. I might as well get myself off before I try to escape. It'll help me stay focused.
Will it?
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I'm so unbelievably wet.
Well, she can't run and think about his giant cock.
True. I mean...
Not at the same time.
No, not at the same time. She'd trip. Over his cock.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Clearly. I'm so unbelievably wet, I didn't even know I could get this wet. As I watch my sleeping ogre, now it's possessive, my fingers slide up and down with ease until I focus on circling my clit. I imagine his arms around me as he pumps into me, and I feel myself about to come, but I want this to last a little longer. I close my eyes knowing that looking at his perfect form is too much if I want to hold out. I imagine his tongue licking me from the inside out. I'm nearing the edge of my climax when I...
Inside out?
Feels unsanitary.
It does feel
You
unsanitary.
can get a UTI, girl.
I'm near the edge of my climax when I hear a slight moan. I open my eyes and gasp. Beck is awake, biting his lip. His dick is outside of his gray sweatpants and he's rubbing it slowly. I pull my hands out of my shorts, embarrassed, even if the sight of him stroking his cock makes my skin prick. Don't know if that's a good thing. He caught me. I don't want him to know what he does to me, but it seems as if he's gotten the better of me yet again. Before I can move or say anything, his gruff voice breaks the silence. Can I help? If only I could have orgasmed, then I could think clearly, but right now my pussy is purring. I want him so bad, how can I say no?
Oh,
Yes, it's more of a moan than a word. In a flash, Beck has removed the space between us, his completely solid body now pressing against me. His dick throbs at my belly.
I thought she was in a cage.
Not in this section.
Oh, okay, never mind.
She's
Cool.
sleeping in his bed for some reason.
Oh,
I don't know why. No one knows.
okay.
His dick throbs at my belly. It's harder than it looks, and I resist the urge to grab it. I feel drops of wetness trail along my belly as he slowly and lightly grinds against me.
How is that helping her?
I don't know, but also, like, massive penis against the belly.
Just her belly.
Just her belly. Like, that grinding into her belly.
It just sounds like he's missed. Like, he's a little too high. You know? Like, scooch down a little bit.
Right? Just like, he moans as if he's already inside of me. His arms hold onto me like he's holding on for life. He feels my breast. I've always thought that I was well endowed with my D cups, but feeling his massive hand around them makes me feel small. Beck, I whisper softly as he lazily feels one of my nipples. Ah, fuck, my name's never sounded so good. Which, alright. His voice seems pained, like he's close to the edge. His fingers trail from my nipple down to my side. He slowly drags it lower and lower until he brushes the inside of my thigh.
Considering that his hand is probably the size
of her
torso,
right?
He's like...
Yes. Yes. I want to hear you yell my name, he whispers before he pushes me flat on my back and dips his giant finger in me. God, you're so wet. I feel his dick pulsing at my side. I've never orgasmed from just penetration before, but Beck's finger is bigger than Lawrence's dick. He clearly fills me with just one. Which, if his finger fills her... How
she does not have the big vagina we thought she did.
How does he get his cock inside her? Like, that is... I'm sorry.
Pure force, I guess.
There's a few steps of logic. Like, we're
Suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, like, we're suspending a lot of disbelief here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Clearly, this author was not a Tetris master. Or she is a Tetris master. Because I can't figure it out.
No. Anyways... And then, yeah, he fingers her until she comes, and then he rolls over, and she rolls over, and they go to sleep.
That's so romantic.
Oh!
Just like, do they even say anything, or do they just go like, night?
She says, I anticipated him rolling over and having his way with me. I don't want that, but at the same time, God, I do want that.
Okay.
So she's clearly conflicted. They don't say anything. They just roll over and they go to sleep. And then the next scene is when
he puts his penis back in his sweats, or you think he just leaves it right outside?
I think he jerks it and shoots it at the wall.
I do too. Yeah. I think there's no way.
Yeah, there's no way.
Or he finished on her belly and we just
and by her belly, you mean her whole body.
Right. Her whole right, though?
She got slimed.
Oh, man.
I love
the
it.
Shrek Choice Awards.
Yes, the Shrek Choice Awards.
This just sounds like the least enticing, like, mutual masturbation of all time.
Yes.
Just, like, very awkward. You don't really want to be here with this guy, but you're, like, angry, horny anyway. Then you have slightly exciting mutual masturbation, and then you don't say anything at all and just turn away from each other and fall asleep.
Yes.
It is the worst mutual masturbation ever because, like, he doesn't finish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he wasn't really good at... I mean, I know that she finishes, but it really, when you get down to it, he's not good at helping her.
No.
He's like, let me rub my ball sack on your stomach, stick an entire penis in you with no warning. It does not even sound like he rubs the clit. He's just like, penis, wiggle, 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 wiggle. And... not even penis. Finger, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle.
Yeah.
And she's like, ah. And he's like, cool. Good job. And then they turn over.
Yeah.
That's it. That's so boring.
Break.
Yeah.
Good job, team.
Go team.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Go sports.
Yeah.
Oh, coming.
Yeah. Yeah. The next chapter is in his perspective, and he is like, my cock begs for release. I lay on my side facing away from her, right? Like,
okay,
like,
so she goes to sleep and he's like, oh my god! Why did I turn over?
Yes.
He's like, I helped and she can't even help me.
I kind of hate that, like, sometimes when I read a novel, not like this, but I've never read anything like this, but You know, in general, there will be.
I don't know, that dinosaur porn.
That was the most boring sex of all time.
I don't know. This might top it.
This book is pretty boring.
We'll
sex.
have to go back and listen to that episode, because sometimes I'm like, we're gonna have to re-record that, because when I described the sex, I felt like when I read it, it was more exciting, but then I'm like, and then they just kind of regular fuck.
Regular fuck. I mean, that's kind of this book too. Like, they kind of regular fuck.
They just kind of regular fuck and pretend like it's super exciting. But what I was gonna say is, I hate it when I read a book where the male love interest specifically is supposed to be like a super generous lover. They just characterize him as, he makes her come, and then he doesn't do anything else. They separate, and he's just in agony because he didn't get to come too. I'm like, that's not a generous lover. That's just an unsatisfying experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that the other piece too is like, what? Like,
there's a lot for you. I can tell.
We can see your wheels turning and you being like, I just don't know how to get this out.
This one was hard for you.
Yeah, well, not,
be honest, was it the incest?
It was the incest, that's what it was everything about this. It's super interesting, like, how this is characterized, but also that, like, how, terrible of a lover that, like, Farquaad it, but, like, what is wrong with his sister? That, like, if he's that bad of a lover, you know, like, and he's like, our bodies are mold for each other, so maybe everybody just, like, got molded out of each other, and she's got a really tiny vagina. I don't know, but there's something so weird about this idea that he's the world's worst lover, but his sister
wants to bang him.
Yeah, like, willingly fucks him.
His sister. Like,
his sister.
Okay, so just, I mean, don't think about it too hard, because it's gonna make me vomit. But imagine how fucked you've gotta be to make that choice in the first place, right?
Yes.
Like, okay, so first of all, I'm going to fuck my brother. My half-brother. Whatever. But then also, I'm going to fuck my half-brother while he's engaged to another woman, but he's really bad at it.
Yes.
Like, he must be so bad at it, because her dream man, in comparison to him, is a giant ogre man who rubs his ball sack on her stomach instead of, like, rubbing her clit for 5 seconds.
That the ogre is a generous lover.
Compared to him. Like, he must literally just be standing there and, like, giving her orders, like, come suck my penis, now we're done, or something. Because, like, just barely any attention at all is enough to make this woman scream in pleasure.
Yeah, or this is a whole novel on the magic of chemistry. You're like, when you have chemistry with somebody, missionary does it, I guess.
All pheromones. It's all pheromones.
It's all pheromone. Because that was, hot to Leona.
Well, and then, like, a lot of the shitty porn we've read has just been missionary, but it's been hotter than that.
Yeah.
It's been a lot hotter than that.
Yeah, and
foreplay, fucks.
Yeah. Foreplay. Or there's no foreplay, which is terrible.
That's a cowboy novel.
That's a cowboy novel. Yeah. Cowboys always going dry.
Yeah, don't read any Maisie Yates.
I wasn't planning on it, but thank you for the warning.
For you today. Yeah, like, specifically.
But is there a different romance novel that you would recommend if somebody was looking for?
What's a good romance?
It doesn't have to be Shrek related. It does not.
I can't say that there's
Can be without Shrek. Can be without any green people.
That I've ever read another Shrek romance novel, so I don't know if there is another one out there, honestly.
I bet there is.
I can't say that I read a lot of romance novels, so I don't know.
Oh, we can get you started. I specifically have a list. Dolly probably has her own list.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're into slightly different types of romance. There's overlap.
Yeah, that's true.
I feel like you're into the period pieces more than I am.
Oh, I read so much historical romance.
Mm-hmm. And you're a lot more forgiving of a proper romance than I am.
Yeah, it doesn't have to have sex in it for me. I really get off on the emotional trauma.
where I'm like, oh, fuck already.
All right.
This would be all fixed if you'd suck his penis.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
What was that one you had me read recently?
Kiss Quotient.
Kiss Quotient.
Oh,
that
that's not the one I was
good.
thinking. Was Kiss Quotient good?
It was good.
I thought that Kiss Quotient, you told me, was just Love Hypothesis, but with different names.
Nope, it's a different author.
Oh.
Kiss Quotient is phenomenal.
It's so good.
The author is, she was diagnosed with autism as an adult, and she's Vietnamese American. Like she's either first generation or she is an immigrant. And so she writes all of her books with like a Vietnamese character family, like within the main family or main characters. And then she also writes autism, and it's like her way of kind of exploring. And so she does a really good job at writing those perspectives and kind of like processing her world in that way. But then it's like beautiful storytelling.
Yes.
Okay, that
Very lovely.
That
There
is
is sex
not-
in that book.
Oh, good.
So
Is it good?
Well,
it's better than this.
The main love interest is a male prostitute. So,
Oh, good. Yeah. So
but he's teaching her how to be comfortable with sex. So, like, there's not
that
crazy
would
sex scenes.
genuinely be a book that I would love. Yeah.
Yes, you would. You would enjoy Kiss Quotient. And that has been Getting My Swamp. If anyone else needs some hand sanitizer, go find some.
For your ear holes.
Yeah, peroxide, maybe. Thank you for coming,
Carlette.
Thank you for reading Get in My Swamp.
So that we didn't have to.
Yes, we're so glad we never have to read it. And
Yeah.
may no one else.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But
Please
let's
keep
Taking
this
one
on.
for the team.
if
Keep
you
this on your shelf.
however, if masturbation is your thing, please do read Get in My Swamp, because you will be titillated.
Slightly.
Slightly. Casually. Calmly, I don't know.
If you-
momentarily.
If you have read Get in My Swamp, please tell us.
All right. Join us next time for some other terrible book with terrible sex, and we'll let you know all about it.
Woo-woo!
That book was hard to get through, Jolene. What shit show are you going to read for us next time?
Next time, I'll be telling you all about Smash and Grab by Maz Maddox.
Smash and grab sounds like a very bad pickup line.
Find us on Instagram at Womanly Portal Podcast.
Email us at womanlyportalpodcast@gmail.com.
Thanks goes out to Chloe Watts for our music.
A special thanks to C Mann for editing this hot garbage.
Did anyone ever find out if Beck's cum is green?
Just come back and I'll pet you.